Hello and welcome back to another episode of SuperCoach Insider. My name is Ben.
And I'm Chris.
And thank you for having us. We could be one of the last ones, I think, to get around this. But guess what? Quality. You have to wait for quality, Chris.
That's
so let's
true.
start on off with our socials. Facebook.com/SC Insider.
Yep.
We are on Twitch. We are SC_Insider_. Chris.
That's Twitter. But okay.
That's Twitter.
Sometimes you nail the socials and other times it's not great. Our Twitch is twitch.tv/SC_Insider. And of course on all major podcast platforms, including YouTube. Search for us as SuperCoach Insider or SoundCloud,
Spotify, you name it.
Yep.
Spotify.
All there, which is pretty cool. So just first of all, solo podcasting, what do you think? Like, did you ever listen on the old Thursday night?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
I see. just shredding. I don't know.
Mate, I've been busy. I am taking time out of my life for this, and I tell you what, I love it. I am so excited.
Time out of your life.
Yeah, literally.
Should we start with the sponsor?
Let's start with our sponsor.
Unfortunately, this is all we've got in the fridge left. So, the Ronas, that's what it is. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate. Cheers, big ears.
So, yes, how was your SuperCoach week? Let's start out with your score.
So I did quite well, Chris.
Yep.
You know why?
Because you didn't have Whitfield?
I didn't have Whitfield.
Because you played the right rookies on field?
And a certain forward finally decided to show up.
Oh, Joshy Dunkley.
Dunkley went absolutely massive.
Yeah,
and
it was good.
Here's the way I thought of it. When I went into the week, I really wanted to get rid of Butters, but he was playing first. I knew Constable was out, so I put him on the bench as an emergency. So I was like, hopefully he gets like an 80-odd, and then I'll just take it. And then I'll choose Stack or whoever. And lucky for me, not lucky because he stunk up because he drops cash, but lucky I had him as an emergency, unlike somebody over here next to me who had him on field. So things went fairly well. I VC'd, I think Neil. No, I didn't go Neil.
Did you go Grundy? 108? No, yeah, it was 108.
Probably
wasn't
Grundy into Cripps or something or other. No, I didn't go Grundy actually. No, McRae into Cripps.
McRae.
Yeah,
that's right. You were talking to me about it.
Yes. So it didn't lose too many points on the Gorn, and Cripps was actually a pretty good option. So I ended up scoring 2,233, Chris. So I was definitely, I think I was ranked like 400th for the week or something or other. Now ranked 1,268 overall. So I have finally climbed the ladder, and I am close.
You are so close to feeling what it's like to be in the top 1,000.
I am so close, I can sniff that crack. I'll tell you what. Just trying to.
It wouldn't be much.
in there.
There wouldn't be much between you and the top 1,000. You'd maybe 50 points.
No, between I think me and 400, I think I'm about 80 behind 400th.
Wow.
So yeah,
So that's
80 points. It's not much.
And I think a lot of people were probably around that. I reckon 2,100 was a pretty par score. So this week going 2,233 is massive because you would have gained a lot in the pack.
Well, the funny thing is that the Friday night football game, I was like, it was get rid of Butters and then try and swing Setterfield because I still got Setterfield. What a muppet. Hopefully he plays it. Hopefully he plays this week. But I was like, well, I didn't want to go. Well, Constable, I was like, well, he's dropped, and my forward line was my weakest part, Chris, which everybody kind of knows. So that's been a common theme for me. So I wanted to get in Tim Kelly, and it was like either get rid of Darcy Moore to do it, or I got rid of Constable and Petrocelli. So I know Petrocelli went up about 27,000. I think Tim Kelly probably went up like 15 or half of that. So pretty much I would have lost a smidge. But I did get another 70 points on totally field, which, totally worth it. Worth it. So I have jumped up in ranks. Chris.
I don't want to talk about it.
I know you don't. That's why I'm eager to hear.
It wasn't that bad. It just,
show the people.
It's the same problem I've had for the last however many weeks.
You can't hide behind the shame, Chris.
No, I can't.
You've already done your trades this week.
Yes, I have, actually. So I can reverse them. It's early in the week. No. Anyway, so same problem with me like that I've had the last 4 weeks now. So 2,044 was my score, so about 180 points below you. I went again back in the rankings from that score, which is surprising because I would have thought that would have been around about par at that rank. But out to 9,526.
I like when I asked you, you were kind of like, yeah, I've slid back to around 8,000.
No, I said 9.5.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Do you even read your text?
Oh, I thought that was the other thing you were telling me, 9.5. I was like, Chris, I don't need to know that information.
Oh, yes, that's right. A visual joke. Anyway, no, so look, at the end of the day, all my problems in SuperCoach at the moment stem from not having Marty Hall and from trading him out in round 3 or 4, whenever I trade him out. I think to me, to be completely honest, I probably can stem it back before that because I didn't choose Bailey Scott originally. So I didn't start the season with Bailey Scott because I thought Paul Ahern would be straight in the side as soon as there must have been an issue. So maybe a 1 weeker, maybe a 2 weeker, which proved to be absolutely 100% accurate, except it was in round 3 that happened after his price rise. So when he was named for round 3, I sort of panicked. I didn't need a correction trade to make. But I decided, well, Hoare's job security was really shit. I'm going to trade Hoare to Bailey Scott. And that has literally lost me, I reckon, 300 points in total.
Yeah.
From fielding people like Jordan Clark with a 40 or a Sam Collins with a 40.
And all the cash.
And so much cash.
Yeah, and that's why I'm actually, at this point,
that one move has just killed me.
For weeks I was kind of regretting going from Collins to Darcy Moore, but I think it has paid off quite well at this point.
Yeah, I think,
Like more
from
points.
That one week,
I've had more points on field in the longevity, and he's still moving up in cash. Anyway, right? Yeah, that's what I was hoping for, more points on field.
So my correction trades just did not work for me. That's essentially it.
And you were kind of trying to not make trades, like, oh no, I'll just hold off on this person, and I'll wait for this one, and then that one kind of falls apart. And sometimes
I didn't do stack because I wanted to see what Jack Ross was like. I didn't do Jack Ross because I wanted to see what Haitley was like.
So Chris, you know what this really relates to? If you're going out, you're getting on the drink, the first girl you find.
No, it's not.
Chris is playing fussy. He's waiting until the end of the night, waiting for a 10 to come along. Look at him.
That's pretty much what I do.
When a good option pops up in front of you, Chris, you need to trade in that option.
In my defense, the only out that I would have had at the time was Zach Butters, and he was break even, never presented himself as an opportunity to be like, oh, you need to get him out. And then he drops a 30 this week. If he drops an 80 this week, like he's done on 2 or 3 occasions, then you actually need to keep him in your side for some more cash gen. I could have traded out Gibbons or something.
Hasn't Butters melted into nothing?
He has. He's literally he's actually going to be worth, at the end of this week, he'll be worth less than Matt Parker.
So bad.
It's so bad.
And the worst part is that now his role is actually better than it has been in a long time. Ebert gone.
He could actually go up 100%.
Gray gone. Ollie Wine
and
out for
I have
4
to trade
weeks. And yeah, what's it?
You kind of have to at this point.
I think
he will drop an 80 this week, and I'll be so angry. But I've got to trade him now. So,
jeez, he's a 30. That's just so bad. His break even has to be getting up there. That's for sure.
Yeah. So, I don't know. They're just literally
72.
wrong rookies on field has really just changed. Like all my premiums, they're going all right. They're not traveling bad. They're pretty much the same as everybody else. I got Tim Kelly in this week, so I traded Robbie Gray for Tim Kelly. I mean, that lost me a couple of spaces in the last couple of weeks, but Kelly with the 120 was good. So I just wrong rookie choices, yet my team still looks really solid, and I'm pretty competitive, and I think that I'll be able to make some changes to get back into the swing of things. Because of the Robbie Gray situation last week, it set me back in the upgrade cycle. So you go to 4 forwards, I was still running 3 forwards because Robbie Gray to Tim Kelly was a sidewards. It wasn't an upgrade. It wasn't, so now I've got 4 premium forwards. I start to run Darcy Moore at F4 with 2 rookies. So
Robbie Gray's really hurt you.
Yeah, it has. It was just really terrible
all.
timing, And I suppose I saved a trade when people traded out 5, or I saved a trade when people traded out Adams this week or whatever.
That's right. So I didn't even trade out 5, and I'm still sitting there. Hey, you know what I also realised, Chris?
What's that?
I believe it's now sitting. What round is it? This one?
8. This is round 8 coming up. Yeah.
Okay,
so it's round 7.
Rounds. So what am I? 4-3 or 5-2? I think it was 3 all. Yes.
It was. Yeah, you're up by 1. Yeah, we get it. I mean, yeah.
And I also had a look. I just posted. Haven't really checked Facebook just since I posted it, but Sam Petrovsky-Seaton has dropped 7.5 points in average. He went from 95 point something.
A couple of bad weeks, but Carlton have so
86.9. He's on, Chris.
It was always going to happen.
You wanted him in your standard side.
I still think he'll be. I think he'll be good quality.
You wanted to.
Did you watch the Carlton game this week?
Do you want to be ranked 20,000, Chris?
Mate, tell you what, there was.
Do you want to be ranked 20,000?
I actually wouldn't mind it because then I could justify doing something stupid trading in Jack Darling.
Yeah, see that'd be worth it. You might as well just go Westhoff and Jack Darling.
I've explained trading in Jack Darling is the football equivalent of a Hail Mary. It's just like, well, I've got this one chance, just one chance.
Yeah.
It could really save your season, or you could literally fall in an absolute
The problem with Jack Darling
is
he actually did well against Gold Coast, so then people are kind of in their mind like, maybe he's back.
Their run of games is actually really good coming up.
Yeah, they are.
So,
and so is GWS, mind you. So
that's true.
good.
Well,
so many teams.
We'll get into the next side of things, and maybe it's Bubble Boys, or should we go through some questions first?
Sorry, Stonesy. Chris competitive ? He's on 0 points in SC001. You are yet to win a game in that league.
Like I give a crap.
Oh, mind you, I won 10 out of 10 leagues this week.
Did you?
Yeah.
On all my actual competitive leagues and my money league, I won. I'm in the top 4 in all of them. So like some nothing league. I'm like, okay, whatever. But yeah, I mean, so there's a few leagues that are really important. So I've got a cash league that I'm actually in the top 4 for. I've got the rivalry league, which we're currently winning at the moment, and I think I'm in the top 6 with that one too. You'd have to correct me for the guys in the chat.
Shall do. Swizz, by
And
the
Div
way,
1, we're going alright as well.
Swizz enters an amazing question about midfielders, and then he follows it up with trying to trade Danger for Boak. Like, Swizz, you can't follow up an absolute perler with the crap you've just served, mate. Pull your head in.
All right, well, first of all, we'll just cover off the Twitch questions that we've got now, because I think there's going to be a lot of Twitch questions.
Yes.
And then we'll go straight into Bubble Boys, and then we'll go into the rounds. And how we're going to do the rounds today is pretty simple. We're just going to focus on trade in and trade out targets. So who's currently in that squad that needs to be traded in and who needs to be traded out. But first one we've got here is from Bing Carroll. He said, "Hi guys, I just want some opinion on these trade options. A is Libba and Clark to Daniel and Answorth. B is Walsh and Clark to Daniel and Answorth. And C is Walsh and Clark to Fife and Answorth."
Well, scrap B. So getting rid of Walsh is just silly. And scrap C.
I honestly think that scrapping Walsh is a terrible idea.
Yeah, A, he's scoring. Even if he hovers, he'll still have some good games. So I expect he gets to his bye.
He's more important for on-field scoring than anything. So I'd rather have him until your last midfield upgrade, and then it's just another 50k.
Well, the best thing is, Carlton have the last bye.
Yeah.
So you just sit him up until the bye. He's not, like, I don't expect him to go flying up in price.
Yeah.
But he's still going to be doing you well enough. Like, what's his base? 80? 79 points? So he's going to just tick away.
Yep.
He's going to have his great games when they play well, and they can't play any worse, let's face it. So you
don't want to be the guy.
I think he'll hold value.
Here's what you don't want to be.
You get through his buys, and then you upgrade him. So therefore, you have someone playing 3 rounds. That's what I'm doing.
But you don't want to be the guy that's traded out Sam Walsh.
Yeah.
And
you're
he
the
goes
only
120
one.
and you're the only one without him.
Yep.
Because that's what you're looking at. It's got so much hurt factor to not have Walsh, and the gain is not that much. He's averaging 96 points per game. Even if you're going to Fife, who's averaging 120, you're looking at a maximum of 24 points over 6 weeks? When you could obviously just trade someone else to get that cash injection.
Yeah.
So
if you get rid of him, it's not going to go Welsh.
Speaking of Welsh, and not really Welsh at all, but did you happen to watch the Liverpool semi-finals?
No, but I saw the thing you tagged in because... okay, so Chris, if anyone's interested, look at Twitter, but did he put that up before the game, I'm assuming? Because it backfired on him big time.
Some context. Liverpool lost the first leg of the Champions League semi-final 3-0 in Barcelona, right? So it's basically all done and dusted. Leo Messi's just going to come over and kill us at Anfield, which is Liverpool's home base, right? The only way we win is if we win by at least 4 goals or 3 goals.
Because then it's, to tie it up.
Yeah, exactly right.
Okay, so it's like a best of 2, but the scores merge.
Yeah, and so what they do is away goals count. So if we had got a goal there, then that would be good because we had 1 away goal, and that sways it a little bit in our favour. Then we'd only have to win 2-0 here, and we would win. But it was 3-0, which meant we didn't get an away goal, which means if they got an away goal, then we'd have to win 4-1. No, 5-1.
Yeah, which is hectic.
Exactly right. So
the odds
are massively stacked. We get into the game. Our best player, Mohamed Salah, he's dropped for the game because he's injured. Our second best player, Roberto Firmino, gets dropped for the game because he's injured. So we've just got our second string guys come on, and we won the game 4-0.
Right.
So
do you think the odds were maybe Essendon winning a game when they had all of their team out?
I'm a diehard supporter, right? I watch basically every game.
Yeah, you watch basically every Die Hard. Die Hard 1, Die Hard 2.
Pretty much, yeah.
Die Hard 3.
I did not set my alarm to get up because I didn't want the disappointment of watching that game.
And then when you woke up, you're like, Oh my God.
My feed's just going like insane. Anyway, so
yeah,
congratulations, Liverpool. That was an amazing
Chris,
win.
this has been a 20-minute introduction.
I know.
They know who you are. They know we speak
They
shit.
should.
So let's move on.
Anyway, yeah. So Big and Carroll, to answer your question, I think you should
Hold
be
Walsh.
going with A.
A.
Libba's primed to go out.
Even
Clark's
then, though, I
primed to go out.
actually don't like Libba and Clark to Daniel and Ainsworth. Like Daniel, yeah, I get it. People want him, but he has a buy in 4 weeks. He's not that important that you need him now. You can wait 4 weeks.
And here's the thing about Daniel that a lot of people are overlooking. Good option. I really like him. He's not really going up in cash because he doesn't really have those massive games. Like his biggest game was 113. You know, he's not having these big. How price works in SuperCoach is you have a big game and then your price goes up over the next few weeks because he's just flatline. Like he's just basically that classic 100, 102 average. And it's not really, it's going 10 points up and down from that. That's really all it is. His price isn't really rising, or if it is, it's going up very slow. So he's not a must-have because he's not going to jump in 20k next week or 30k or 40k. He's going to be maximum in 4 rounds. He might be 520, 530k. It's not that much difference to get him now or then. So I like Daniel as a unique, and I think is a good option, but
I'm waiting.
I can wait. I don't need him. He's not a must.
He's not a must-have, and again, they have the first buy. So I've said that to a few people this week where, like, I get it. Like, Boak, if you're going to get him, you should have already had him. But if you want him, then I get it. If you want it, go now because you're going to get points for the next few weeks. But again, they have the first buy.
The difference is Boak's hurting you, right?
He is hurting you, so that's the difference.
So Caleb Daniel's not hurting other people yet because he's not really. He's scoring consistent, but he's not scoring outrageous. It's not like when Tim Kelly plays well, you're screwed if you don't have him. You know, when Boak plays well, you're screwed if you don't have him. Unfortunately, the same's not really being said about Daniel.
The problem is that Daniel's doing well, but it's like him standing in a crowded room and he's at the back. You're not really going to see him.
No, exactly. Well, you're definitely not going to see him.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like he's doing his business.
That was a short joke.
It was a short joke, yeah.
All right, moving on. Kato23 said main danger captain. Oh, unlucky. And look, that all happens to anyone.
That happens to a few people.
I mean,
and I think that's why I actually did quite well.
Cripps was on 4 at quarter time.
Yeah.
And he did not look like he was going to get anywhere near it.
Lucky, I was coaching under 16s at that time, so I didn't actually have to deal with that stress. I tuned in right at the very end where it was the 4th quarter and he was on 110.
You can always sort of rest your laurels on the fact that no one had really gone massive, so you weren't really, even if you went 80, the worst case scenario is a Gorn.
30 points. Yeah, Gorn was the main one. But yes.
All right, Ando says, I've gone Libba and Collins to Cameron and Corbett.
So which Cameron? Charlie Cameron?
Jeremy Cameron it would be. However, if Haitley is selected alongside Kelly and co, Corbett will become Haitley. Yeah, fair call.
Fair call. I just don't know.
We'll discuss the rookie options
Libba and Collins,
when we get to the bubble boys.
But Cameron seems a bit...
Look,
Cameron. I think Cameron's a great
option.
Cameron
can go bang, and we know this. We've gone through some basic stats on Cameron.
I'm interested, but to get rid of Libba and Collins, I feel like you should be getting someone better than a Cameron.
The problem with a Cameron is he hasn't dropped his poor score yet, right? So so if he continues on this, then great. But he's only averaging 108, and he's playing the best football of his career.
He's kicked 30 snags in 7 rounds.
So ridiculous. What happens when he goes through a form slump and drops a couple of 60s? But everyone's already on him.
Well,
I don't know.
Mind you, we kind of disregarded
Tommy Hawkins last year. Even this year, he's doing the same.
Well, except though, is that Cameron actually gets up the ground, gets marks, and then kicks it, and then gets back into the forward 50 and takes the Jonathan Brown mark. Like,
there was
freak.
Can't remember the game, but it was this year, and it was literally 25 minutes into the second quarter. Cameron had 1 touch, and hadn't literally seen the football. Right, literally a commentator's curse. That happens and he kicks 2 goals in 3 minutes and all of a sudden he's back in the game, you know? So he's always got that opportunity to score, and I don't necessarily think that he won't score. That's the risk that you run with taking someone who plays centre-half forward or full forward or key position prospects.
Yep.
All right. Swizz says the obvious best mids, Cripps, McRae, Neal, Fife, Crouch.
He's after the rest.
Who should be 6 to 8? That's a good question. So
I've
actually
he has Crouch still? Oh, then he has Crouch. Okay, fair enough.
So 6 to 8, I actually am leaning towards the West Coast mids. I think Elliot Yeo has proved since Gaff came back, he's only had 1 poor score of 85. His other 3 scores 116, 114, 132, or 134 was it? But either way, I honestly think that Elliot Yeo for the rest of the year will average somewhere between 110, 115, and from now until the end of the year, I think he can do that.
And what else is the problem with Yo?
Sometimes gets tagged out of games.
Middle of the buys. Same as all the other ones.
Can you get him now? No, you can't get him now. That's a late season.
Well, yeah, and especially depending on your makeup, and I think everyone has to actually start. Like, now's the time. And a few people that I've spoken to on the messages when I've had a chance, they're saying, what about this person? I was like, yeah, but they have a buy in 4 weeks. Like, what's your team like? And they're like, I actually haven't looked at my buy structure.
Yeah, you need to.
I've already got 4 guys with around 13 buy in my forward line or whatever.
Unless you don't care, unless you don't care about overall rank.
If you don't care about overall, then fair
enough.
So
you do definitely need to be taking that into consideration when you're doing your trade-ins. I also think Zach Merritt has a lot of merit in being in that top 8. See what I did there? I don't mind. I mean, there's guys like Cornelio who has shown that he can be a top elite scorer, but it just hasn't pulled together.
I actually think Cornelio is going to pull through in this next
And
stage.
the other one is just annoying the hell out of me is Josh Kelly.
Yep.
So he should be absolutely killing it, but...
Josh Kelly will be top 10.
Yeah, but what's up with his groin? Because it's the same injury he had last year.
Abductor this time, Chris.
No, but he had an abductor last year.
Yeah, groin. Now it's called an adductor.
It's the same shit.
I know, right?
So can you trade him in now?
It's a different phase. No, you can't trade him in now.
Because it's been 2 years, and last year he proved he couldn't work through it.
And that's the problem, is that we thought he was good, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they're like, oh, by the way, he's not starting the season, aka I traded him in like 3 draft leagues. And then, all of a sudden, they're just like, oh, by the way, yeah, his abductor's there.
Now, what do we need to? Someone who's a medical expert out there needs to get on the horn to us and say, hey, this is why...
Groin and abductor.
Why can't he just have surgery and be out for freaking however many months and it'd be better? I don't understand. I don't get it. But it's frustrating because I like him so much and he's so good as a player. It's frustrating that he gets dropped every 3rd week because an adductor strain. Like, it's the same shit. Sorry, I just get frustrated.
You do get frustrated. Side note, GWS, their next 8 rounds, Hawks, Carlton, D's, Suns, Adelaide, North, Essendon, and Lions.
Decent.
Which is very decent. I actually think Cornelio, after those 8 rounds,
will
will go from 100 average back up to about at least a 108 to 110.
I mean, the other thing was, Cornelio was better with Ward in the team too, and that he's been injured. But I still like him as an option because he just explodes.
Yep.
And, so you can't keep him down for too long.
And it's also a contract year, so I think he's had a bit of a rough patch, and I think now...
So I think that rounds out the 8 for me.
Yeah.
All right. So what trades are we making this week? So, Tom, right now, and actually we might just cover that when we go through Bubble Boys and trade targets instead of covering that off now. It's probably going to be double handling that.
Chris loves the double handle.
It's true. I usually have to. Is Zeeble at... See what I did there?
Is that because you have handles?
Yeah, that's true. Is Zeeble at 421k value as F6? Good round 14 buy round. I actually thought about this, but as a forward, he provides value.
Why are you yelling?
Why are you yelling? Sorry, I am yelling. As a forward, he does provide value, but it's one of those Hail Mary passes. You've got proven scoring history with other people that are going absolutely ham. Do you want to take a risk on a 420k player that may have another role change? Because what I've seen is that how he came in was because they had more forward options. So Nick Larkey, for example, is that forward option. He's come in and he's played a role okay to now. I mean, they've played, Carlton, and he got a 114 or something, or 112?
Yeah, no, he's done well. Yeah.
No, that's Zeeble.
Yeah, I'm talking about Zeeble.
Well, how long does Larkey have in the team? And so if he goes out, does that mean Zeeble goes straight into the forward line?
It's a tough one because Zeeble's had issues on and off.
Yeah.
Historically.
Well, the other one is Mason Wood, who's never been able to string a round of games together ever.
Nope.
He's currently in the team. As soon as he goes out, does Zeeble go back in the forward line?
He's more like made of ply than...
Oh, 100%. So can I trust Zeeble's role to stay the same?
No.
I can't.
And even
There's
then,
no way.
Even when he was midfield, he'd average 100. Like, I think one part he averaged 100.
Like a flat.
Well, it was 100 for the start of the year, 100 flat. And then all of a sudden he just dropped off a cliff and ended up scoring absolutely crap. So for me, I would not rely on Zeeble. In fact, I would not rely on anybody in North Melbourne.
No. And remember, one of those scores was in a massive, massive win.
Huge.
So
landslide.
Just don't. And I mean,
it was literally the biggest massacre since the King of the North.
Game of Thrones. I respect that.
Yeah.
Oh, who doesn't love a bit of Game of Thrones? By the way, how good is that right now?
Love it.
Unreal. All right. Danger injured. Would you consider trading him out for a Boak?
This is the shit question.
Or look around the buys? Wouldn't. He's probably not going to be injured. He'll probably play.
And the funny thing with Danger is that if he's already dropped, he's down to 540,000. He's dropped like 118,000. For the smidgen of people that don't have him, they're going to have him now.
Everyone's got him. So
if and when he goes big, you will literally be the only person crying in the corner because everyone else is going to have him.
You don't need to trade Danger. I understand the need to get Boak if you don't have Boak, but
if you get him out, then you're going to be probably one of the handful out of 200,000 people. You're looking at 10%. So what? 20,000.
I'm actually super worried about trades. Like I've been conservative and I've been seeing other teams out there, and people are gonna run out of trades. So
you're worried, or you're worried for them?
Well, I'm worried that. So I've worked out. I'm going to need, like, to me, be full premium, and I've still got 26 trades. I'm going to literally need, an absolute best case scenario, if I get maximum price for all the rookies and minimum price for all of the people I trade in, the best case scenario is I'll have 9 trades left over after that. Best case scenario.
Yeah.
And it's probably not going to be, because I'll probably need to make a couple of double downgrades to reach that.
Calm down.
And people are on, like, less than 20 trades at the moment.
Yeah, like Ben Ashton.
Smoking him. Smoking.
Oh, he's like, yeah, I've got 2 every week, right? It's already burnt through like 14 trades.
It's just putting it out there. It's not AFL fantasy.
I do like Ben.
No, but honestly, so I think people need to slow down. I think there's going to be a lot of teams that run out of trades this year.
Here's the funny part, though. People get a sniff of the top 1,000, so they start trying to make all these trades to try and keep their points and keep trying to push to
Which
first.
isn't necessarily a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea, but then all of a sudden the wheels fall off. And now I'm only like 150 points behind Ben Ashton, like 150 ranks behind him, and I've got about at least 6 more trades, I think. So,
yeah, I mean, something like a Whitfield happened. So if you traded to him early, then you're hating your life, right?
Oh, hating life.
Anyway, all good. So moving on. We've got best mid pod: JPK, Cunnington, Yo, Duncan, or Zorko. Yo.
Yeah, Yo.
Easily. But,
even I agree on Yo, and I hate him.
Still so good. He's so good.
People don't forget.
He had 12 tackles this week. 12.
Josh Kelly is still a good pod if he plays, though.
True.
Because you're risking on high potential, high scores, but also that risk that he might not come back for the year. So
yeah,
I actually think Josh Kelly's probably the best pod, and then Yo.
Oh yeah, well that's fair call, but again
it's risk reward. Yeah. Do you want to do it?
Is down here working or is it not working?
Oh yeah, how inflated.
Maybe he's a good looking lad. Maybe he needs to stop working down there, if you know what I'm saying.
Josh Kelly.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, maybe he wouldn't have such abductor and groin issues if he had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he wasn't so gorgeously faced.
If he had a face like a half sucked mango, then
exactly
maybe he wouldn't have.
That's why Chris Mayne's so it stays in the park generally.
Jeez, all he needs is that nose, mate. That's all he needs.
And David Mundy, isn't he like he's on Tiger Blood? He's a little bit on the nose. Anyway, so we talk about some random stuff.
You're getting personal.
We are. I love those boys, by the way. So Secret 11 says, who do VC and captain considering Grundy and Gawn are playing one after another? Well, that's exactly who I am going. I just need to make sure I watch the games.
Who's Melbourne playing?
Melbourne are playing someone Gold Coast.
Ooh.
Now,
yeah,
so
that's fair.
So for me, there's 2 reasons why I'm doing that. First of all, I do like Brodie Grundy somewhere in your plan. So either it's VC or C. And the games before that, I'm not really too keen on. And the games after that, I've really only got, like, if you had 5, that's an option, but I don't have 5.
Yeah, I've got
5. There's no run really after. I thought maybe like a pod captain could be like a Zach Williams with no Whitfield. He's absolutely tearing it up. But why would I take that risk? So for me, it's just going to be a straight Grundy into Gawn, done. And I just need to, I'm going to watch the games anyway, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, all right. So with my comment, do A. Yes, Bing. Bing Carroll, yes, do A. A is where you're at. Lads, howdy from Steen76. How you going, mate?
So, Chris, just on the VC as well, the problem is that around those, literally that time slot, you've got the Bulldogs versus the Lions, you've got Carlton versus Collingwood, which means that you've got Cripps, Grundy, Neal, McRae, and Bont. Yep. Like, it's going to be so hard. And this week, more than it has been for many weeks, whoever you VC is going to be critical. The difference, if you pick McRae, who actually normally tears up Brisbane.
Yep.
tears them up. We got like a 168 not long ago or something like that. He tears up Brisbane. Brisbane's actually McRae's bunny side.
Well, I'd say that too. The issue is Brisbane aren't the same Brisbane that they were last year, the year before.
Yes, I'm just floating,
So,
Chris. I'm just floating.
I'm avoiding Brisbane people.
Don't
like
correct
people
me.
playing Brisbane at the moment.
Okay,
so,
cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Carlton, if Cruiser does come back, he's going to be a bit underdone. I think Grundy's going to tear up a massive one. So for me, I think he's the most consistent VC you can hope for because I honestly think he's going to at least go 130.
Yeah.
And then I'm just going to be able to take that. Max Gawn, yes. Fife, I think, is also a good option because who do they play over in Fremantle? I think they're playing this week. So I think it's not a bad game for them. So
I think if you want to look at any sort of VC or C option and you don't have Grundy, I'd recommend listening to Stats Bonfer. So I was listening to SuperCoach Elite's podcast yesterday, and they had some freaking awesome stats on opposition ruckmen that are playing Carlton. So apart from 2 of the games in which those 2 were Cruiser, Andrew Phillips, who's their number 1 ruck, has allowed the other ruckman from the other team to have their best score of the year in every single week he's played against them.
yeah.
So what is that for Grundy? That's just like an absolute shoo-in. If Cruiser does come up, which it doesn't look like he is anyway, he allowed the second best scores of the ruckman that he actually played up against. So why wouldn't you go against a ruckman against Carlton if it's Gawn or Grundy? That's captain material scores, warning signs.
I don't think I'm even going to get to my C. But
no, neither do I.
Fife is playing Richmond too. I actually don't think they really have a matchup for him.
And they leak points in the midfield.
And it's in Fremantle. So I think that's a very good option.
Fair enough.
Yes, I do need to make an apology, Chris, which is on the Twitch chat. I don't have a West Coast jersey on today, Chris.
Oh, I'm so upset about it.
Although I did bring a little gaff memento, Chris. So
that's not gaff.
Can you see it?
That's Dom Sheed.
I've said that all the time now. Dom Sheed. And Chris, can you see? Can you see Dom Sheed?
Oh, yeah, I saw him close up. I saw him live once.
Right in front of you?
Right in front of me.
So look, I do owe an apology. I've been on placement for the last week and a half, and I've still got 2.5 weeks to go. I haven't been home since early this morning, and I could not, in the rush that I was to try and leave the house with all my stuff, I could not find it. So it is there. It's just one of those, I grabbed this because it was right in front of me, and so I do apologise. I was expecting the hate, and I was meaning to address this when I first started recording. So I do apologise. Please love me anyway.
So Swizzy says, how Devo was it City not beating Spurs? Could have had Liverpool versus City in the end in both camps. Like I said, that's another Liverpool situation. Right. I was actually Devo during the week. So in the Premier League in Liverpool, so we're getting a bit off topic, but I'll be quick.
Chris, no more Liverpool.
Liverpool have the 3rd highest points tally of any team ever in Premier League history. And this year they'll get done by 1 point to City. This week they're playing Leicester. They played Leicester this week. And it was at the 70th minute mark. It was 0-0, and if you get a draw, Liverpool are in the box, proceed again. And their centre-back hits a worldie from 30 yards out, like postage stamp in the corner, like never going to pick it out. You could hit that 2,000 more times and still never hit that same shot. And I was just like gutted. Like watching it live, it's like, I was angry. I was so angry.
More than the Collingwood losing the grand final again? Angry?
Well, it's close, man, because like they haven't won it since 1990. It's bloody close.
You are really talking some shit tonight.
I am. Fair call. All right, who are we going to VC and captain? Yeah, we've already covered that. Yep. Thanks, Placey.
Did you get Sir Black Knight? Do Bulldogs have a good tagger?
No, they have run with rolls. So
Liberatoria runs a little bit, but
what Bevo does is he creates a tagger, which isn't really a tagger; it's a run with. Based on matchups. So some weeks it could be Libba, some weeks it can be Dunkley, some weeks it could be Bont head-to-head with someone else. The one person that they want to not do that is, so this is when they want to go head-to-head, wheeled back our guy against another guy is McRae. So when McRae goes against Fife, it'll literally be, hey man, at stoppages, and then bang, they don't see each other.
Yep, and they both just go la la la.
And it's, I can get more ball than you, and I'm better user than you. That's how they try and play that. But it's not like them to lock down like a traditional tagging role. It's always run with.
I like that people say burn to Ben Ashton. Hopefully he's listening.
All right.
Hopefully you're tuning in live.
Stonesy says, Drew to Darling, straight trade. Yeah, well, we covered the Darling thing earlier. It's a Hail Mary.
Not a straight trade, it's $200.
Yeah. I actually looked at that
Change.
as a potential option, and then went, yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't
There's so
think...
many good options above him. Like, at the moment, people already have 3 or 4 really, forwards because the rooks are so shank. But that means there's only a couple of spots in there for you to fill, and for you to fill it with a darling is just going to hurt you. Unless you need a Hail Mary.
His form is literally, if you look at how West Coast have played, when they play really bad, he's a barometer from their team. So whether it's his form or West Coast as a whole, I'm not too sure. But you can't say that West Coast are playing great football last year. And you know that whole premiership hangover that's been proven, that on average the best players from each premiership team the next year, they fall by at least 10 points per game. That's literally what's happened over time. So is that the same thing with Jack Darling? Is he now just like... I know he gave him the average. So here's what I think. So he averaged 86 last year, but his true average was 96, as we said in the preseason. So at best case scenario for the season, I think he might average 86. Now, I think right now he's averaging like 60. So I think that he's got legs to improve, but is he going to save his season? I don't know. What can he average from here to the end of the year? I don't know. And I'm not willing to gamble on it. I'm not gambling on it, but if you rank 30,000K... Sure, go for it. Hail Mary, let's do it.
Speaking of gambling, Bing, thoughts on Tim Kelly as a poor pod captain choice? Don't do it. Yeah, he might go 115, 120 or whatever have you. However...
It's so taggable.
Well, that, but also, you don't really see him going 150s, you know? No. So I think if you're going to go pod, go on a pod VC and at least have somebody that is proven to average more than 100 as your captain choice. Because otherwise, in the long run, you will get burnt. Yep.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Nathan says Grundy Indigo for him. Yep. And
that's right. I've just covered it.
Oh, that wraps it up. Right, awesome.
Got the chat going.
All right. Let's get into it then. We can now finally get into... So, yeah, we've been... I know that was a little bit extended, but we've got a lot of questions, and there will be a lot of questions tonight. We are prepared for that because we understand that a lot of people are making either their first or second upgrades.
Yep.
And this is a really important time of the year.
I think we just start straight off with these bubble boys and let's get these people off the rack.
Let's do it then,
We've already started with so much extensive talk about these questions and what people want to know. So I think let's get straight off the bat, straight into the cash cows.
So the number one, of course, there's a couple. I mean, it depends on how you would consider the number one, but for me, the number one's Jackson Hately. Absolutely dominated. He actually has been getting a lot of ball in the defensive half of the game. So I don't know how he's impacted when people come back, and that's the issue. They've said that Kelly's more likely than unlikely, but Whitfield is more unlikely than likely. So that's how it is at the moment, as of Wednesday. Whitfield still needs to train on Thursday to be approved to play. So they're cautious on him and they don't know whether or not he's going to get through.
Well, it doesn't sound promising, but not only that, he wasn't actually included until Josh Kelly was out.
That's true.
And now Josh Kelly has been said that it looks like he's going to play because he got through training today. So I think Hately, just because he is predicted to go up by 82,000. So if he plays, all you really need him to do is to play 2 rounds and he's made you 140,000 based on projections.
Yeah.
So it's hard not to. If he plays, it's hard not to because he scored well. And it's one of those ones where, you might not pick him and then all of a sudden someone else gets injured. So Hopper gets injured or something. And then all of a sudden, Hately's playing 8 games. And by the way, he's made you 350,000.
I like to call that the Marty Hall rule.
Yeah.
Literally the exact same thing. This is why I'm definitely getting in because I'm not letting it happen to me twice. Fool me once, shame on me. But literally traded out Marty Hall because his job security was terrible. And then he gets a late in and then stays in the side and now he's cemented his role.
And the reason he cemented himself is because he was one of the only ones really trying and putting in an effort in defense.
And look, Hately has been playing fantastically. So here's the consideration as well. Zach Williams is on a massive tear. That guy is playing some of the best football I've seen him play. And it's just, it's showing to GWS that they don't really, which is strange to say, they don't really need Whitfield, really. Honestly, the football they've been playing, Zach Williams is dominating that back line and their ball movement is so good. Every time he kicks the ball, it's straight down the middle at a target, an inside 50, or it's to a guy in a better position that's going to launch an attack. He's just playing that good of football. Then you've got Jackson
Whitfield
Hately.
Was playing
similar role.
Stunning football. Yeah, we'll put him on the opposite wing.
Unbelievable, yeah. So
Get him away from him.
I'm worried about Williams copying a tag because he's playing so good, like forward tag.
Don't be.
When Whitfield comes back, are they going to shift roles? Who knows what's going to happen? Because I think Zach Williams has proved that he can do that role. That role that was basically Whitfield's, he can do that. And control and dominate the football. Haitley, he's been getting a lot of the ball in the defensive half, but he's feeding it to other people, and then he's been coming into the centre as well and along the wings. Now, the person that came in for that is Isaac Cumming. Now, he hasn't played amazing football in the ones. So I do think that he's the first to go. I think that Haitley has proved over his 2 games that he can hold up at AFL level.
And play a variety of roles,
So I think
possibly.
Cumming's probably the first to come out. That's what she said. Oh, wow. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. We're G-rated here, right?
Yeah.
We also have
You haven't said anything
Aiden
wrong.
Core also is coming out of that team. He was injured in the game, concussed, copped a massive knee to the face. So he's not going to be playing this week. And you've got Phil Davis coming back in. So if it's me, Whitfield is the one that's probably going to be left out this week, and it'll be Davis in, Kelly in, Core out, and coming out as well. Now I don't need. We've done it again. We don't need Haitley to play a huge number of games to be able to make a lot of cash because of his break even so low. So his break even is
Minus 93.
negative 93. He's predicted to go up
Predicted to go
82k in week 1.
and then 58 week 2.
I could tell you that's more than what Bailey Scott's got right now.
Yep.
And what Bolt has made. So I mean, you could do a lot worse than getting Haitley.
If he plays 2 games on projections, it's 140k.
Yeah.
Interesting. Again, moving on, Josh Rotham still can't get a game, and I actually thought that after West Coast played so bad against Geelong, I thought he was a shoo-in to get a game.
Yeah, so did I.
And then Simpson's like, oh no, we don't go about making changes. That's not how we do business.
I think what they did there, they probably just went, yeah, we're throwing that game away. We're giving everyone one chance.
Well, and I think they also realised they're playing Gold Coast, so like maybe we can get our boys some confidence.
Probably.
And I don't think they got that much confidence.
No.
Gold Coast had a good shake. I
They
tell
did.
you what, they had a great shake.
Look, and I wouldn't be surprised if Rotham comes in this week or next week. I hope he doesn't come in this week or next week because I kind of want him in my team for the cash gen.
Yes.
But we'll see. The other one is Ainsworth, and we've got a lot to say about Ainsworth because you're a Brisbane boy.
Yes.
I went early on Ainsworth last week, so I've already got him in, and a lot of people are looking this week as a double downgrade week. Because there's literally no one next week. If you look at next week's 1-game rookies, they're all terrible. We had Stocker play last week. You got like a 14.
Yeah, Garner, who's 254,000. No thanks.
Nah, and then we had
Dylan Moore.
Tom Williamson played absolutely terrible. I mean, those are both in absolute shellackings.
Dylan Moore got 74. He's had 2 games. So...
No, so he's on the bubble. Yeah, exactly.
right.
Like I'm talking about like 1 game of people.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't
It's
realise he'd played 2 games.
Yeah.
Never heard of him.
So there's really like no 1-gamer people that
That's fair.
are looking likely to be a good downgrade option next week.
So it's more like double downgrade this week.
Double up next week.
Up next week, and then kind of sit and wait for the buys probably and do a couple of downgrades
Unless
for cash.
you're like me and you can make an upgrade, but you've still got enough cash in your bank to make another upgrade next week. But I remember the only reason that is because I'm 1 trade down.
And you did Ainsworth last week. Here's my take on it, Chris, is Bailey played, I think, the seconds last week, which is probably good because Ainsworth got the game and Bailey didn't. But everyone who knows me, and I've been publicly saying this, is that Bailey would have got dropped if he didn't get injured. He was horrible. Every time I looked, and I was in the member section going, Bailey, again! Like, every time something went wrong, I look and I was like, it's Bailey.
Well, do you know he had 11 disposals that night and 7 clangers?
Yeah. I think I looked at his disposal efficiency and I think it was under 20% or something.
He was
it was
absolutely shocking. And some of them caused a lot of goals too. That's the, you know, when they're those turnovers hurt you so much because they cause a goal. That's when it's really bad. People can have turnovers, but when you have 7 clangers and some of them, he had 3 free kicks in that as well. When they actually cause goals, that's when the big issue is. So, he's only had 15 games. He doesn't own that spot. It's Ainsworth's to lose and Bailey's to gain. So Bailey needs to go back to the 2s, play that role, do it well for a period of time, maybe 2-3 weeks before he's even considered. And then you'll see if Ainsworth drops form, then that's a change. I don't think people are so dead set on not going with Ainsworth because of Zach Bailey, and I can't see it.
Yeah. I think the thing is Josh Bailey needs to get form, as you said.
Zach Bailey,
yeah.
You said Josh Bailey.
I said just Bailey.
Oh, just Bailey.
I think Bailey. Just Bailey. I think he needs to get form. I think what might happen is they might even rest Hodge for a game and give Bailey a game, and then see how he goes.
Well, he's played every game so far. But,
yeah, he has.
Yeah.
But funnily enough, though, is that you're looking at Ainsworth actually cost a couple of goals as well. I think he was cooked at one point. I think he was exhausted, cost like 2 goals directly, and then got pulled for a rest. Other than that, he was really quite good. I'm interested to see. I'm not 100% on his job security, but he is doing well enough that I think he will continue to get games. But I wouldn't be surprised if he's dropped this week.
Yep.
Just based on that. The other thing to note is, as well as that, at some point I actually saw him lining up at fullback because Sydney have quite a small forward line, and I think they were putting Haywood or someone or other full forward. So it was either him or Leicester.
Yeah, with no Franklin, it was
either him or Leicester. Sometimes would actually start at fullback.
Which is impressive given his score. And obviously they don't have Andrews as well, who can play tall or small.
It wasn't much. I think maybe Leicester might have been off, but most of the time Leicester lined up there, depending on how Sydney stacked up their forward line. Anyway, let's move on to the next one.
The other one, I mean, can we just have a little bit of a shout out to our mate, Riley O'Brien?
I'll tell you what, how good was his score?
It's going so well.
Why isn't he a forward?
Do you remember what we said? We said when Setterfield comes back to the senior team, they'll probably have a similar break even. His break even is a lot less. He's negative 11 right now, and I think Setterfield's like 22 or something.
And do you remember what we said? How if people were wanting to trade out Sweet, and we're like if you have Sweet, it's probably not worth it. Whereas if you have Bynes, then easy. You swing it in, happy days. Whereas if you trade Sweet to him, then you're gonna have to trade him back, which means that's 2 trades. So realistically, he's gonna have to make you at least 200,000. To make you 100K.
And he's probably going to do that.
Well, he's already made 200,000. He's made 203,000 with a break even at negative 11. So
it wasn't a terrible move.
It's not a terrible move in
great.
hindsight. So if you did go Sweet, you must be loving your trade.
Yeah, excellent. I'm looking forward to I'm looking forward to literally sideways trading him to a forward premium.
I know. I can't wait till that day.
You can get him straight to the buys, sideways trade him to a forward premium. It's going to be great.
It's literally going to be like tax time, where you just wait and you bank it up and then
bank.
Cash it in. Thank you very much.
All right.
I don't even want to get started on this guy talking on the chat about trading out Grundy and bringing in Riley O'Brien.
Nah, not worth doing.
Oh, painful.
All right. So there's a couple others that we need to. There's so many
Corbett.
cash cows, but Corbett's probably the next one.
Yes. Corbett actually hasn't done too bad. So he scored 59 on the weekend, averaging 57.
Yep.
But the problem is, he's playing for Gold Coast.
That is the problem, and if he was playing for another team, you'd be a lot more confident because Gold Coast. They're not playing terribly, but they play that one style down the line football, which. It's just it's negative to it's negative Supercoach scoring because most AFL teams they're playing possession football, where they hog the ball in the back half, get open uncontested marks, and then move the ball forward. They play a brand of down the line contested mark. If it doesn't happen, ball drops to the ground, get a quicker possession out and a long kick again forward. That's their game style in a very simplistic form. So it's not great for Supercoach scoring, especially forward Supercoach scoring. So that's the one thing I really don't like about Corbett. Everything else I love about him. Mature age.
Yep.
We had him both in the preseason for a long time. He's a contested mark king. He's actually traditionally more of a third tall. He's only like 190 or 191.
Yeah, he's got a good grab and a good kick. So I do
Did
like him.
you also know he's blind in one eye?
No way.
Yeah. Legally blind in one eye.
Jesus.
Yeah. So for a guy to judge height, depth, and be a contested marking king... That's why he didn't get drafted.
This, ladies and gentlemen, is why you don't wank in a beanbag.
What does that even mean?
He's blind in one eye, Chris.
Good one. But you're such a rook.
Don't do it.
Next on the list is Derek Joyce. I think he needs to be talked about. I mean, I've been avidly against Joyce. Joyce.
Hello, Joyce.
Every time.
Joyce.
Every time. Ma, it's me. I'm on the phone, Ma. Oh, you're not Joyce.
What are you doing at Joyce's?
So good.
Be yourself.
Anyway, so He's looking at a traditional fullback role. His issue is that, first of all, he has scoring power issues. And second of all, Nathan Brown's out of the side for him. So how long that's going to be, I wouldn't be able to tell you. So I'm pretty strongly against Joyce. But if people are absolutely desperate for a defensive downgrade, I can see why you would want that. It's really up to you guys.
He's projected to make 60,000 in the next 3 weeks.
Well, I mean, that's what I mean. Like people who... if they're not watching the football games or if they're not paying attention to roles, who's in or out of a team, that looks attractive to a lot of people. So I can understand why people would do it. I just would have no bar. I'd rather take a risk on Haley who might not even play than do a Derek Joyce. It's just not me. Outside of that, you've got Nick Larkey, who's a little bit further down, so his break-even's not as attractive.
I don't think we covered Dylan Moore that well.
We will get back to Dylan Moore. I think I'm doing it in order of
break-even.
Yeah, no, in cash.
I'll go on cash. Cash, he's up here underneath Corbett.
We'll do it later. So Nick Larkey had a great first game and a terrible second game, but his break-even's quite high because he'll have that in his rolling cycle for the first game. So again, I wouldn't be jumping on Nick Larkey because if you look at his cash gen, he's projected this week at 34 and next week at 6. And then in 3 weeks, he's actually losing cash. Oh, wait, that's the wrong person.
2.4, it's positive.
2.4, yeah. So I wouldn't be looking at a Nick Larkey at all. I don't think that he's going to be viable. He might have decent job security, especially if they want to play, what's his name in the midfield? Jack Zeeble. But
do you know what pains me, Chris? Is that Baker is literally about to make 150,000 after this week.
I don't like it.
I don't like it.
I hate people that got him and then got all his points as well.
They got him all his points on field, and they also probably went Ross as well.
It makes me upset. I don't like talking about it.
And Ross has literally already made 120,000, and he's about to go up another 40. So there's 160.
Yeah, these guys that traded early, they've made a lot of cash, but they don't have trades, so I'm okay with it.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not. I'm terribly upset. Dylan Moore as well. So another one, 123k forward listed there. Now, he's someone that I don't hate, but I just think there are better options this week. So, if Dylan... you'd have to be choosing him because you don't like Corbett, is essentially why you're doing it. Now, because he plays for Hawthorn, it's a little bit better because they're a better team, more conducive. They're probably going to win more. But for job security, I think Josh Corbett's got a lot more, personally.
Yep.
I think they wanted to start the year with Josh Corbett. He got sick just before the season started, and they couldn't play him. He was going to be in their round 1 team, virtually guaranteed for me. All preseason, all the hype was about Corbett, and he got injured just before the season started, and that's why they didn't play him. So, anyway.
So Black Knight's Ando, right?
Yeah.
Ando, you leave me alone, mate. Swizz says Naish is dominating the VFL and Richmond have more injuries, so should you wait instead of Ainsworth? I don't know. On that one, Swizz, you would be the Richmond fan. For me, I'm waiting until teams get announced because who knows what happens in the meantime. The mid-season draft could see more rookies during the buys, which is very interesting, and you would assume that they're 102k. However, it depends if they've played previously, depending on who's been announced. So that'll be on their price because some guys that I was hoping would be 102k are actually more like 123, and that kind of hurts.
Yeah.
But yeah, so...
I think at the end of the day as well, this is the week. This is probably arguably the most important week in SuperCoach is this week. And the reason for that is this is the week that the trades that you make into your team, they're going to be with you until the end of the buys. So your rookies that you are going to be training in, they need to be pretty important. They need to be either solidly playing or they need to make you enough cash that you start getting rid of them at the first round of the buys, or which is round 13 is when you start making those trades. So, as long as you can see them making you enough cash to be out of your team in round 13, then you're sweet. You're fine. You're 100% in. So, for me, with Haitley, that means at least 2 price rides. So, 2 games out of the next however many. So, if he gets named this week, I'm pretty comfortable with that. But you don't want like a Joyce who comes in, doesn't make you enough cash, sitting on your pine and not playing. That's different. Haley's break even's so low that you can justify that trade, if that makes sense.
No, that does make sense. Just getting back across here, so I'm not sure. Kato, I'm not sure if that was in reference to our earlier jokes or not. Stonesy says, no grey, no wines. How much does it benefit Boak or Drew? I think it benefits them immensely. So you look at the start of the year, Drew started off really well without Ollie Wines in the side. Now you have Ebert out as well with Wines and Robbie Gray, who was doing half quarters in the midfield. So I think it's going to be huge. I think Rockcliffe is going to probably go back to his dominating form because they need him in there. He's a left field option. Like I know everyone's saying, yes, it must be Drew and it must be Rockcliffe and that kind of thing as well with Boak. But I wouldn't even be surprised if, well, I would be surprised, but they could even get more creative and put like a Sam Gray or someone in there who used to actually play some midfield. I would prefer that. And
Sam Gray's been playing high half forward wing until last week where he played forward pocket because there was no Robbie Gray.
Yes. So maybe they bring in a Motlop and say you can just stay in the pocket and try and kick some goals because you're useless at backward pressure. So it'll be interesting, actually.
Good segue. Should we get into the first game of last week?
No.
No?
No, we're going with the Fallens, Chris. We're making our own structure this week. We're not going to have time to go game by game.
Fair enough.
Per se. Following on, Westhoff is a DPP ruck cover or hope that Coburg ruck gets picked up. Right. Heard he has good form, so hopes he
Swizzer Biolic, whatever his name is.
Okay, right.
Gets picked up. That's his cousin, bro.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I get you now. Didn't he only have like 11 hitouts or something in a goal?
I don't know.
I don't know, Swizz. And Bing, I don't know if you've sent your team to our Facebook or Instagram or anything, but I can't see your team, so I can't rate it out of 10. So because I can't see it at this stage, it's probably a 0. But you have plenty of room to improve.
Just on Westhoff, while we're talking about someone, I'm actually pretty big on him. And I've got a lot of hate back and forth from different people.
Yeah, why would you do
that
it?
are really against Westhoff. So I'll tell you my reasons why, and you can tell me your reasons why not. And I'm pretty sure the reason why not is I don't think he's going to score well. That's all. And so it's like, yeah, whatever.
Is this another like Sam Petrosky-Seaton debate?
No,
where you're adamant but you're wrong.
No, I still think he's going to average that. Yeah, he literally just got a game where he was absolutely dominated and scored like nothing. So whatever. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So with Westhoff, I think he's a value consideration because he's got a really low break even. His break even is I think it's like 36. So he's going to go up. He's projected with a score of 69. He's going to go up 15k.
What's his ownership? 8% or something?
His ownership is. Yes, 8%. That was really
good
really
guess.
Good.
No, I saw 16,000, so I kind of just assumed.
So look, I think for the rest of the season, even if he averages you only 85 for the rest of the year, I think is a massive value addition because he's the sort of guy that can go big, right? He can go 140, 150, and even this week just gone, he's got 108, kicking 1 goal 3, and it should have been 3 goals 1. He 2 of those goals, 2 of those points that he kicked were 30 degrees, like 45 degrees out, 20 meters out from goal, like absolute sitters that he would usually gobble up, and then he didn't. So even if he's scoring 85 for the year, but has those big games, you can still move him to the pine after the buys at the absolute worst as your F7 for ruck cover for the rest of the year if you've got binds, which I do, or a loophole option on field, or an injury cover for a 1 week, let's say late in the season, a Gorn or a Grundy gets rested on a specific game because they're just, they've been gone for 20 games. All of a sudden, you can just throw Westhoff in there instead of copping a 0 or having a trade. So I've looked throughout the entire season towards getting a option there. So whether or not it's Westhoff or Lysett or whoever it may be, I still think that he's a really value option. And at 400k, you're not going to get him any cheaper. He's not going to be cheaper than 400k much. I mean, you'd have to go another 2 back-to-back 30s and 40s in order for that to happen. So for me, that's not something that's going to happen. So I don't really hate the trade. And it also enables me to keep going with my downgrade upgrade cycle. So I can get Westhoff in this week and then still get in Boak next week. Or I can still get in another forward or another defender or someone else that I'm looking at. Whereas if I can go up to Boak this week, but it means that next week I won't be able to trade because there's no downgrade targets. I won't have enough cash. So does that make sense?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I actually figured I could probably go Darcy more. Scrimshaw down. No, that's not going to work either. No.
Look, it won't work for everyone. And it is a risk as well. So I won't discount the risk. But I've drifted out to 9,500 rank. So it's not like it's not a Hail Mary pass, but it's something that can separate me from other people in the top 1,000 because I guarantee you not many of them have Westhoff. And I guarantee you that every single one in the top 10,000 people are worried about when Westhoff goes big, they don't have him. So it's going to be interesting to see because I think it could be a real unique that could completely change my team, but I wouldn't recommend it for absolutely everyone out there. Just something to consider.
Yeah, that's fair. And pre-season, I didn't think he was averaging over 90, and his price, even though he's dropped 150,000, I still don't think he's reliable enough to fill the last two spots in my side.
Well, I also think that he's not going to average over 90, but I mean, he's already had those poor scores in his system. So if he was still to average 90 for the year...
No, not for the year. I'm talking about from
now.
Yeah.
Well, even then, I still think it's value. Because
it is value.
The way he scores, it's massive and then low, right? That's how he scores his football.
I'd rather get Boak and someone else. Hell, I'd rather get Menengola, who's cheap as chips right now, except his buy isn't great.
We were asked about that on a Facebook question. So, I mean, what do you think about Menengola at this stage?
I do want to see some role change a little bit, but he has gone 100, 100, 100 over 3 years, and he is a good player. So, I wouldn't be surprised.
My issue is that what they didn't have in the last 2 years was they didn't have Dalhouse, they didn't have Rowan.
True.
So Rowan's playing out of the square as a full forward,
as well.
So when Menegola went forward, sometimes he would get a roll out of the square because he's a big marking presence.
Kick some goals.
He's not getting that anymore. Dalhouse is taking a lot of tackles and a lot of contested possessions in the forward half.
He's just filling a role and then he's going off.
He's a role player right now.
Yeah.
And he's not getting Tim Kelly's minutes.
Menen Roller.
Yeah. So for me, I think Menegola might have been a pick that we all thought was going to be a good pick for the year. But we had no idea what sort of impact.
Yeah.
Plus, the other impact, I mean, someone like Brian Myers, who's playing a brilliant role forward. Even Atkins is playing a good role football. Like, he's not scoring well, but he doesn't need to.
But they're putting pressure on. And you put Dalhouse, Rowan, Atkins, and Myers into the forward line. They're all pressure players. You put Menengola in there and...
He doesn't need to do that anymore.
No, he doesn't. I think you might actually be onto something there, Chris. For me, I would have to see something first, and that would mean there's a chance he'll probably go like a 130 or something because of his high ceilings, and then he'll just jump up in price, but he still will be cheap enough for a little while. So for me, I'm waiting and seeing, and I've already brought in Tim Kelly because I think he's more reliable at this point, and I've now got 3 people with the round.
Yeah, which means
13 by whatever it is. So
So if you're throwing up between Kelly and Menegola, I think it's quite clear Kelly. I don't think you're going to gain anything from going Menegola.
And you've seen Kelly's role, which is just brilliant. So
now another one that a lot of people are looking at as a mid upgrade is Adam Treloar, which I don't hate the pick. I actually really like the pick, and the reason is, of course, Taylor Adams is out for 4 weeks, so confirmed with a groin injury, another adductor strain. Must have been hanging out with Josh Kelly too much.
Who do you like?
Adam Treloar.
Yeah, I do like
so
that. So
his scores jump, generally speaking, when Adam is out of the side.
Not only that, Collingwood have had a really... Collingwood and Geelong, their start of the year was tough.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're both killing it is just ridiculous. And the things are going to open up for them from now, which is why I actually quite like...
Yeah, Collingwood's draw really starts to open up soon. So it'll be interesting, that's for sure.
I'll check it out.
Now, Boak's obviously still a good trade-in target if you're looking at him. I think he's going to be a must-have eventually. I'm not against waiting until the buy, though, to get him, because you're guaranteeing a 0 on your field at this stage, depending on how your structure is.
And at this stage, he's still like nearly 600, isn't he?
Well,
so it's just,
he's got a high break-even.
It's crazy.
So here's the thing with Boak. Yes, he can hit his break-even. It's 109. But there's every chance that he jumps another 100 or an 80 or something like that and drops even more cash. So he's currently projected to go 119. And at worst case, that's a 4.5k price rise. So he's really at peak price. If you're getting him in now, you're not saving anything. You're just saying, look, I've got the cash. Now I want to get him so I can take advantage of his scoring.
Yeah, correct.
But I don't know. I think that there's a couple of low scores that are going to drop in there. It may not be over the next couple of weeks because, of course, Port's midfield's just taken a shot. But we'll see how that pans out.
Check this out. Collingwood, they have Carlton, Saints, Swans, Fremantle, D's, Bulldogs, North Melbourne, Hawks.
Yeah, it's decent. And then a loss in round 17.
Well, yeah, Hawks midfield compared to Pies. North, same. Bulldogs, yeah, but Bulldogs, they don't tag or leak.
Yep.
They will leak. Melbourne, again, is going to be an interesting one because, Melbourne have been poor. Fremantle, so they're at home. So pretty much they have one away game where they leave Victoria, basically. Yeah.
The issue with Collingwood midfields this year in Supercoach, though, is just that there's too many of them. Who do you pick?
Well, and the problem is that Trelaw's like butchering.
Yeah.
He's
I mean,
getting
Pendles
30,
has turned it. I don't know what's happened to Pendles, but man,
He looks good.
He looks faster. He looks better with his decision making than he did last year.
But
I
again,
know we had a back issue, but Jesus, it looks like the old Pendles.
But remember at the start of the year, Chris, 666 is going to give guys more space, and his basketball background,
true.
he already has time and space.
Just putting that in there, another media person saying something about Pendles' basketball background.
Yeah, right. And another one, ting, ting, ting. But you put in the 666, the time and space that he has. He already has so much of it already. You giving him more time and space,
It's true.
It's just ridiculous.
Now, what do you think?
Do you think you'll average top 10 those Pendles or not for the year?
I think you could go close.
I don't. I think maybe.
He's already averaging 106.
Yeah, I think he might average 107. He'll probably be top 15 or something. I don't think he'll be.
He'll
top
be
10.
close to it. That's what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
he might not be like entrenched in the top 10, but he's going to be around that mark.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a
I
terrible
don't see him
trade.
going below 105, but I think he will, especially the next month. I think with Adams out, he
Yeah.
could absolutely go on a massive run. Against Carlton even, like you could see him just tearing up.
Did you see
100%.
that Hibbard got a 97 this week?
I
and
did, the
he's
1
playing
week.
two midfield again.
The 1 week.
Yeah. He's coming back, bro.
He's been so bad.
He's coming back.
He is like under 300,000, I'm pretty sure, Hibbert. Or
Yep.
just now over because of his good score. It's horrible.
And what do you do if you've got Angus Brayshaw with a 68?
Well, we did say that he wouldn't be top 10, so...
He's worse than that, though. He's worse than what he was last year. And is that Melbourne or is that him?
Well, the funny thing is that people were like, yeah, and so many people... It wasn't like 20% went Brayshaw. So many people. How many now? Where is he?
Well, I understand why, but I mean, again, you're picking a breakout, right? That's the issue. Is
Well, they were looking at his back end of the year and going, oh,
but even
Brayshaw's amazing.
his back end of the year wasn't that great.
So he's still owned by 16%?
Yeah.
Oh, that hurts.
Does he need to go?
That hurts. He has to be...
Is there a must in? Is it a Fife that you've got to go
He's
to?
averaging 93.7. I mean, at least Taranto's averaging over 100, isn't he? Like, it's just...
No, I don't think it's just shy of that.
Just shy. This
But
has to hurt.
I do think that he needs to go. Get the best available premium that is a lock for top 6. So Boak,
Taranto 102.
Neil, 102. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. I'm never wrong.
Boak, Neil, Whitfield when he comes back, Jake Lloyd if you don't have him. That's who you've got to go to. You've got to try and make up the points, and the quickest way possible to do that is to go to the best available player. So whoever you don't have, that's who I would be getting in.
Mad King just said danger with medial ligament damage according to Mark Stevens. Although Mark Stevens is a flog. Sounds like he might miss a couple of weeks, boys. So we'll see.
Ooh, I don't love it.
Well, if he's out for a couple of weeks, maybe the boat wouldn't be such a bad thing.
If it's out for 2 weeks,
2
no.
weeks.
I'm not doing it.
For 2 weeks?
Nope.
For 2 weeks?
I can just drop Drew in there now. Drew. I've got Drew in my midfield now based on this week's trades.
Yeah, right.
So I can just put him back as a mid-forward swing. Bang, done.
You're right.
Yeah, I know other people might trade him, and that could be a good strategy, but it's just like the same thing with Whitfield. You held Whitfield knowing he's probably going to miss 2 weeks.
Man, imagine if you missed out on... Yeah, don't have Whitfield and you don't have Danger. What anarchy.
It's just a trade. You got to trade him back in, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, so why would you trade him out? I mean, for 2 weeks of scoring?
Yeah, well, depending...
I can see if you've got Bolter on your pine and he's going to get you a 20.
Well, here's the thing. I might... If that's the case, I might actually go and bring in...
He could be a strategy for you.
Well, I might go Danger to Bogue, and then that way I'll wait for Danger just to drop a couple of weeks and then get him...
What you could do
After
is,
the bye.
depending on how your team's set up, either
Maybe.
you can either switch him to the midfield or you can switch him, leave him forward. Loophole someone this week. So chuck an Eon, even a Bolter or anyone, whoever you've got that's on your bench, either forward or midfield, and monitor their score. And if it's good, hold him. If it's bad, trade him.
Yep.
So if you're really into
Like what I did with Atkins.
exactly what you did with
Yep.
Atkins for Fife. So
Yeah,
if you're getting it at 70, then
Well, and
what's the point of
knowing
trading
my
him?
luck, it'll say 2 weeks and then he'll be back next week because he's a hard bastard.
Yeah.
So, but look, if you're going for league and stuff, 100% you can't trade. If you're going for overall and you're in the top 1,000 and you want to pull away, then and you have trades, which is probably the rare commodity in the top 1,000 or around that mark. I could actually see the benefit to going for points if he's missing 2.
Yep.
But we'll have to find out for sure. So
Now, there's a couple of guys that I want to keep on everyone's mind, and I think they're important because they're the first week of the buys. A lot of defenders are week 2 and week 3. So you're either going to A, trade these guys in beforehand, or B, wait until round 12 and then trade them in. But James Sicily, he just scored an 80. His break even shot up to 122, which he can hit. But if he has another poor week, he'll drop even further in cash. He's tipped to go 103 this week and drop 10k. His current price is 560. So he might be under 550, maybe even 520 by the time the buys roll around. So I'm hoping for a couple of poor rounds from him. The other one,
Sicily and Hearn, I'm looking at as upgrades for sure, and they both have the middle buy, so that's the I believe.
Well,
Hawks
Hearn's the one that I want, but the one that you probably can't have because of the buy that is in. The one that you can have is Luke Ryan. Luke Ryan is on an absolute tear. I know he's expensive, but he's going absolutely ham. I can't see it slowing down. He is one that can drop a dud score every now and then, so you might want to wait for him, or jump on him now, get the maximum value points wise. And then he'll cover you through the rest of the buys because he's got the first bye week for you. So having a think about that.
Jesus.
Is what you want to
Quick
do
side note. Port Adelaide play Adelaide, Suns, Hawks, Saints, Fremantle, Geelong, Bulldogs. And then they play Adelaide again and then Brisbane. That's actually a pretty tasty run
Is that
too.
Port? Yeah.
Yeah. Especially with Wines out. Boat could absolutely
Oh, yeah. No, I think that...
continue on
again,
hurting.
Definitely think that Boak is a... he's definitely a must-have. He has what's his biggest score? 130 or something?
He's only had 2 scores, I think, under 120 or something. So he's been pretty good.
But his big... Like, his difference between his bottom end and top end's not... Like, he's not going 150s and 160s.
No, it's more...
Yeah. That's just because of his kicking.
Yeah, he's consistent. Let me bring it up. That's just 2 shakes away, Chris. So 119, 123, 136, 134, 95, 129, 102. So that still looks pretty good.
No, fantastic scoring. It's just is he going to be a 150 absolutely kill you sort of player?
I think it's compared to the rest of the forwards. I think it's one of those ones.
Yeah.
He could.
It also means that if he goes on a bad run of form, his average will drop significantly, and so will his price.
Yes.
But he's not going to get much more expensive than what he is now.
No, 100%.
Exactly.
No, he's not. And for 600k, I mean, you could literally get McRae in and still save money. So
yeah, I do think he's a very important in, and I don't have him right now, so I will. He's one of my big targets. But yes, definitely looking at that. And the reason why I mentioned Luke Ryan is purely because he's in only 3% of teams. So one of the last remaining really super unique players that are available in defense that doesn't affect your buy structure.
Oh, he's only 580, hasn't. I say
Boak.
only. Yeah, I thought he was closer to 6.
No, exactly right.
That's not that bad.
No, exactly right.
I think Cameron's about 550 or something.
Yeah.
I'm actually really interested in getting in Cameron, Chris. I'm not even lying. Jeremy Cameron, I've already spoken about their draw. He is 527,000, so a bit cheaper. And I'll tell you what, I know he's on a heater and everything like that, but he is a high quality pick, and we've been waiting for a while. He's getting up the ground.
He had premium scoring in his first year of AFL football.
Yeah.
Didn't he average 90 something in his first year?
Yep. And now I think I think he realizes now he's the big dog. Finally, he's getting up the wing.
There is no pattern in that team. The other two are more mobile forwards.
His work rate is absolutely phenomenal. He is working harder than any other forward.
Not bad for a guy with one arm and a bung shoulder.
Pretty much.
He's basically legging it. That's the other concern. If anyone's actually watched his games, he's basically on one shoulder every game. One of his shoulders is he must have an issue. He's taped up to the max every game. He hurt it again 2 or 3 weeks ago.
A couple weeks ago.
When he hit that 7 or 8 goals.
Yep.
He did it all on one shoulder.
Yep.
It's obviously...
was that against Richmond, that one?
Whatever.
That was a few games ago now.
Whatever the game was where he kicked a massive bag, he did it on one shoulder and was when he wasn't running and marking the football, they have the camera on him and he'd be drooping like this because it hurts to hold his shoulder up.
Jeremy Cameron, 168, 163, 92, 85, 114, 134. So I think the thing with Cameron is he has that ceiling to really hurt you in a round.
Yep.
But Boak more consistent.
Fair enough.
Yep.
Now there's a few Dogs players I want to touch in as trade on targets, and I think the number one on everyone's lips is Bont.
Geez, touching dogs.
That's what I do. Anyway, so
Bontempelli looks.
Tell me what. I know why I don't want to pick Bont, but what's your thoughts on Bont?
I'm waiting for the buy. I'll probably go in.
You think that he's going to be valuable?
Well, he's been highly touted for how long? People have picked him for so long, hoping that something's going to happen, and finally he's showing it. Do you know what I mean? it's not an if and but. Like, yes, his role may change possibly, but I think he's playing such good footy that you can put him anywhere right now and he'll just fucking tell you.
I do agree because let's be fair. Even when he does play forward, he still can have a really good game forward and get you a 150 as a forward. My issue is just that it's the midfield roulette of the Dogs, and I don't like it. I don't want to gamble my SuperCoach season on what his role is because I still don't know what it's going to be in 5 rounds' time.
Yeah, but even at worst, he was still averaging, 106?
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it's a terrible pick, but right now you're paying basically premium price for him. What's he priced at? He's 586k, which is basically one of the most expensive midfielders in the game right now.
Yeah, he's only gone up 20,000, Chris.
No, but you realise that when the starting, the magic number goes down, that 20 grand's a lot more.
But
look, I won't be getting him.
Who are you going to bring in then? Trelaw instead of Bontempelli? Instead
No,
of Bontempelli?
I am.
Based
100%.
Based on price?
Based on I know that Yo's role's not changing. Same with Zach Merritt. I know his role's not changing.
Yo's role can change.
It can change, but it hasn't
Zach
in 18 months. So why would it? He's played midfield pretty much the entire last year and a half.
Anyway, I think Bontempelli, I had him in my top 10, so we obviously see things a little differently.
I don't see him as a top 10.
Yeah, so there we go.
And look, he might be now with the tear that he's gone on early, but then that means that, the end of the year is going to be worse. So, no, not for me.
Yeah, I do agree. And a couple of these guys, Norton up forward has freed up Bont. And after all those clunk marks, they're not going to change that system anytime soon, especially after the win. And yeah, we've already said, Wally, Adams out does help Trelaw, and I think it also helps Pendlebury. I think it's going to be interesting. Maybe Sire, maybe he'll be back in.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think they'll do that. I don't think Sire will come in. I think it'll be either Daniel Wells or someone else. And the reason I say that is because they've already got Dane Beams there that's not playing an optimal role.
Well, maybe actually, that's a good idea. Maybe Beams will actually do something for once in his life.
Yeah, he's been poor this year.
Other than move
by his standards,
move
he's been
clubs
poor.
and give false promises. Yes, Jack's obviously got some hurt feelings over here. Jack's saying Bevo is a snake. You can't trust him. So we've got a few hurt feelings there, Chris. I will touch on a few other people that have dropped a little bit. So McRae, 582,000, break even of 149.
Yep.
That's huge. So he's already dropped 107,000 and he's averaging 113.9.
He'll be 550k in a couple of weeks.
Easy. So it's just absolutely crazy.
And they have the first buy.
For those that don't have him, it's just going to be an absolute mozza. He is basically even price with Bont, so crazy there. Oliver, 544k, averaging 100, break even of 118. He's lost 78.
I just don't understand Oliver.
I mean, either. And here's the funny thing: he actually had a lot of his possessions outside the contest this week. So, go figure.
It's killing me.
I just don't get it.
It's Melbourne playing so badly that it's affecting Oliver scoring. Because here's what Oliver does a lot, and I've watched Oliver play an incredible amount of football.
Do you still think he's top 10 from here?
I don't know.
It's hard, right? You'd say yes.
But I'm not going to trade him because there's every chance that next week he pops a 140 again.
Yeah, and the problem is that he hasn't dropped too low either. Like
exactly.
It's not that dire.
It's not desperate. Like he's not my worst.
He's dropped 78,000. He's still 544k because he just keeps kind of ticking along like 100 flat.
It's definitely not your worst problem in your team. Look, here's what he used to do, and it's not happening now because Melbourne are playing shit. And it's different when their forward line was functioning well. But a lot of the times he'll get the ball and just throw it on the boot forward. And there used to be a contest there.
Yeah, used to be Hogan and everyone else around.
He's either kicking to space. If it bounces before it gets to your target, it's considered an ineffective disposal if it's under 40 metres. So that's, the scoring that he was getting from his disposals is completely diminished.
And Brayshaw.
Even his handballs aren't, they're just not crisp. They're not hitting the targets like they were.
Do you reckon he just thought things were happening for him, or what?
I think all Melbourne did.
Did? Oh, how funny though! Just quietly, sorry for any Melbourne fans, that they get rid of a piss head and replace him with another piss head. How great's that?
Just on that.
Well, it
didn't look like he was plastered. He just having a scooey. Calm down.
Oh, he had a few hours.
Who cares? He's having a scooey on a Sunday on a public holiday weekend.
Harley Bennell's like, I don't see the issue, mate. I was doing that on a plane.
It's the Harley's breaking out his 8-ball.
Yeah, Harley's sitting there going, what's going on? Although I do think it is a good system to have. Like, if you're injured, you're not really running, right? So it's really easy to actually balloon out and hard to get your fitness back. So I think if you're injured and you're on rehab, I think it's probably a good system to say, maybe don't get on the
team rules.
Well, if you're injured, don't get on the booze because you'll blow out and then it's going to be harder to get back in and then you don't help your teammates.
Yep.
So I think it's fair if you're on rehab. and the emotional side of it, because you get a bit down, like I feel crap and I'm not playing and I don't have the, you know, the good vibes of playing and all the rest of it. So
the GGs,
yeah.
GGs in the chat. The other thing I want to notice is, again, this is more draft relevancy, not really at all. I wouldn't touch it in standard, but Dale Thomas again with a 96 this week. So backed up his, I think, 113 last week. So for draft guys out there, if you're sitting around on a waiver, or if you can potentially get him in while Simpson and Newman are out, as a short-term point buff, then that's something to consider as well. So just the guys out there noticing that. Outside of that, I think Duncan could go well over the coming weeks. I mean, he always does. I mean, I think he's proved he's fairly consistent. I can still see Duncan coming back into the fray. He had a 126 this week. And let's have a look what he did last. He's got a 71 break even, so it's something you have to get in.
4.6. He's just ticking along. He's not doing too bad.
But I think if you've got Danger out, he really comes into consideration.
I think he does.
And potentially so does Menegola. So maybe he does get something more mid-time. But I think it's more likely that they go, okay, Ablett, you get more mid-time. I think that's the more likely scenario.
Possible. Or Ablett still might get rested, yeah. Apparently, Sear got injured in the reserve, so I said, was it Searvir?
That's terrible.
I like it. I got to laugh at my own jokes, Chris. No one else does.
That's true.
Apparently, so Wally, I did say earlier that I forgot my West Coast jersey at home today, mate, so I did apologise. A couple of people, I know,
they love the West Coast.
I know.
Now, last thing I want to touch on is Matt Crouch, who's suffering from a little bit of Clayton Oliver-itis.
Yes. I think they're being really harsh this year, Champion Gala.
Nah.
Do you think they just suck?
I watched the game. He's getting a lot of the football, and when he needs to do something good with it, he doesn't. And when he's open and it's uncontested, which doesn't score much, he hits a target. So his contested balls that he's winning, he's not hitting targets with, and that is really impacting his scoring. Because it would be a lot more.
Where's the danger, love? Where it doesn't matter where you kick it, you get max points.
Well, because Danger always kicks long to a contest.
Yeah, true.
So as long as you're going long to a contest, nothing matters.
So he pulls a Langdon.
Yeah. But like a Matt Crouch rarely goes long. He looks for that quick, short option, right?
Yeah, he tries to go for the team play and then butchers it.
Yeah, but if it's a contested ball and he does that and he doesn't hit the target, that's like a no scoring factor. So when your contested possessions aren't getting maximum value and then your uncontested possessions, they're just ticking along. So that's why you're having scores of 97. Because he's getting enough possessions to score well, but when he needs to maximize his points per possession, he's not doing it. And that's what I find with Matt Crouch is when he needs to hit an open handball target from a loose ball get, whatever reason, it's just not happening for him. So I do think, again, I think these guys, both of which are in my team, I think they can turn around. They're winning games. At least Adelaide are winning games. Who do you think is going to win the showdown this week, by the way?
Adelaide. Port's got too many people out.
I do think. Congratulations to Matty Broadbent. They've announced that he'll be back this week, so that's
crazy.
Good.
I forgot all about him, to be honest.
I think everybody did.
Yeah.
So that's really, really good.
I wonder if he hasn't played so long. I mean, sitting on the sidelines, do you reckon he was Matty Board?
Matty Broadbent?
Boardbent.
That one's actually quite good.
Oh, thank you.
That's much better than your
It would be much better.
It
would be much better if I didn't stutter. 100%. Should we round out any other things from the week, Chris? Let's touch on it.
No, I think that pretty much covers all the major trading targets and the major trade out. Let's head over to Twitter and Facebook to see. We probably have a few questions there.
Well, I'm on Facebook. Oh, you're right too.
And I'm on Twitter. So look at that. Look at how that works.
Happy days, Chris.
They call it multitasking. That's the wrong chat there. All right, let's start here. We just got a couple here. So the first one is from Seeker, and he says, will Danger play, and what strategy should we have in place when he doesn't? So we did touch on that a little bit earlier, but I think it's important to loophole a player, and we'll get a little bit more information about how much he's likely going to be out for. But I'm a strong, firm hold if it's under 2 weeks. 2 weeks or under. If it's looking at 3 or over, then you can start questioning it. But a strong hold at 2 or under. Nelson Moody says, looking at the one-game rookies now standing out as relevant. What are your thoughts on double downgrading this week and double upgrading next week? Yeah, that's
the theory.
We did touch on that.
Strategy.
I'm big on it if the right guys get named and it fits your team structure, because I don't believe there's going to be much in the way of downgrades over the coming week and maybe even coming 2 weeks. So I think people are going to really struggle for cash over the next few weeks. Hopefully we get another few people that are coming in up to the buys so that we can double downgrade the week before the buys, get some cash before a big upgrades target at the start of the first round of upgrades.
Who's speaking blasphemy?
Sorry,
Was it Swizz? It says medial ligament damage for Dangerfield, however minor, has to leave him in doubt. He will need heavy strapping. Worth there is ?
He'll play full forward then, whatever. I don't care.
Yeah, it looks like he's not missing weeks. So
nah, if he's not missing any weeks,
let's see.
No way.
As in maybe he'll play, but even then, it doesn't look that bad. Yeah, I think at this point, wait for the team announcement. But based on that, I wouldn't be trading him unless I see something that says he's going to miss a couple of weeks. Then I might consider it. So yeah.
Yep. All right. And onto Facebook. Yep.
You got it.
Do you want me to get up? I can get up Facebook. Yep, sure.
Oh, you already had it, Chris. You
I was
were
on
the
Twitter.
man.
I was on the Twitter.
You said you had the both, Chris. You were like,
I was
am the
twatting.
man. I call it twatting. Okay, let me bring it up. Also, I have to scroll past your ugly mug changing into Lions gear. What's going on there?
I know. How annoying is that?
Okay, so Wednesday Night Live. Here's the question. Sam Menegola hard to pass at 419k. That is cheap, though.
It is cheap.
I
won't be doing it.
Here's the funny thing, though. Like, I do like Menegola, but at this point, I'd actually
At
rather
that price, I'd rather...
Westhoff.
I definitely would rather Westhoff.
I know what, as in I wasn't really for Westhoff, but at least I'm like, okay, Westhoff should go 90 plus from here on out. Plus, he gives you the ruck swing compared to Menegola's buy.
The difference with Westhoff and these other guys, so there's really three around that price point. So you got Menegola, Zeeble, and Westhoff. If Westhoff doesn't average 100 for the rest of the year, which is I don't think that's anywhere. I think anyone's predicting that. It doesn't matter because you're not necessarily getting Westhoff in to be 100 averaging forward. You're getting him into cover for the buys, and you're getting him into cover for the for any injuries that may happen in your rucks, which most people don't have a cover right now, or they do, which is Riley O'Brien, but they want to take advantage of being able to trade him.
Oh, for sure.
So to take advantage of that, of Riley O'Brien's price rise, you're going to need to trade him out eventually. It's probably going to be around the buys, which means, again, that's when Westhoff becomes important and it becomes valuable to your team. So it's not, and as an F7 guy who can go really big in a week, like really big, like 150 big.
Oh, so you're pushing him to F7?
Well, that's my long-term plan. So it's my short-term plan is to get him on field instead of a rookie, and hopefully he outscores someone like a Matt Parker, which is, that's my, though I do think as well, and the other factor that we have chatted about is Charlie Dixon. So Charlie Dixon, if he ever comes back to the team, he will force Westhoff out of the forward line and more into a wing and into the half-back line.
He's still on indefinite, though.
Yeah, I noticed that, yeah.
I think he had more
There was
surgery
an article that I want to read up that he had an interview this week, and I want to see where he's at because there was I can't remember what page did it, but there was an article that came out about him. So I will look into that a little bit further to see an estimate. It was supposed to be around about now that he was supposed to be coming back to the twos, and he's now listed as indefinite. So we'll see how that works out. But yeah, so long-term, worst-case scenario, he doesn't hit your scores. He's looking like a dud that can occasionally score well. You can just push him to the pine as your F7 option and then loophole him on field when he does as a late-game winner. So imagine in the league finals, you've got Westhoff at F7 and everyone else has got a rookie at F7 and he goes massive, bang, straight on field. So, yeah, definitely a good option.
Chris, okay. So he says... Charlie Dixon actually feared that he would never play another AFL game again.
This is the one that I...
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so I looked it up for you because, hashtag bless everybody. So it says here, he hasn't played a game since, blah, 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 blah. He's on track to play in round one before a setback, rehab program. Positive development for Dixon and Port. The key forward said he's aiming to return to the club lineup after its round 12 bye.
That's fantastic. So that's great. That's great news for him. And
I'm actually thinking about it now.
Yeah, and that's not too far away.
No, that's not that far away.
So you get him for the covers over the bye period, and then you get a role change straight after that's going to be always positive for him.
Yes, I do agree with that.
Mate, you can't... And look, and I'm buying him now when he's cheap, because he's, over the next... Let's say he goes even 80, 80, 80, he's going to go up 100 grand. So for me, it's cheap right now.
Yeah, right.
He's 400 with a break-even of 36. So even if he goes 80s over the next 3 weeks, he'll go up close to 100 grand.
He's not going to be 500,000 averaging 80.
100. No, over 3 weeks he will. He'll go up. Because it's based on he's got a big rolling average in his score now. So from his 108.
Right.
Yeah. Now, if he goes...
It's not that massive.
If he goes 100, 30, then 80, that's
Yeah.
not... Yeah, that's... Yeah. So it's all about consistent scores or consistent...
Yeah,
and high
that's
scores.
fair. And if Dixon does look like he's coming back in, I might bring him in as well. And again, best case scenario, he does well, and then worst case is you then move him to your bench, and then you can then swing him.
The downside of it's not terrible. No. So that's just my...
And if someone does miss a week like Max Gorn before the finals, then you have someone that can actually play a role for you.
And there's every chance...
And you bring him in at 400,000 instead of actually trying to bring in...
every year.
Instead of trying to bring in a cover for 520,000.
Every year... a ruckman that you have misses a game or two. It happens every year. Doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah, right.
It happens. So, I mean, I think Grundy last year was one of the only ones. No, he missed one game, didn't he? I think even Grundy missed one game last year. Interesting.
Don't think so.
Anyway, I think that's pretty much us for the
I think that's it. I think we've actually covered some good. Yeah, you check that out. I'm just reading the rest of this article quickly, see if there's any more information.
All right. So there is a couple more. So Bolton Petrocelli is back up if Danger doesn't play, and still not sure on Whitfield Corky. Yeah, that's pretty much where it's at. Who you emergency will be based on who's playing when. So I think Richmond and West Coast are playing each other this week, aren't they?
No, Richmond's playing Fremantle at home.
But they're the last game of the round.
Yeah, they're really late.
So you can't really emergency because you want the emergency to play before Geelong so that you can actually do a swap.
100%.
So
and it depends on who's not named. I think apparently Scott got knocked out or something as well in the seconds, and the guy who knocked him out is 3 weeks suspended. So I don't think Bailey Scott's going to make a surprise appearance for North, so you will have that loophole.
Yeah. So what I'm doing this week with Danger is the likely scenario is I'm going to loophole Michael Gibbons because they're an earlier game than Geelong. And then depending on what he gets, I'll move Dangerfield into midfield to get that on-field score, and I can take Gibbons' loophole. If I'm not happy with that, I can take Parker's loophole in the forward line. So depending on who scores where will depend on where I switch Dangerfield. So
yeah, it's fine. I'm going to wait till tomorrow night for team announcements to decide what I want to do.
Yeah, that's going to be important.
Also, Chris, just quickly, while the rest of this article, Charlie Dixon says he's about 4 to 5 weeks away. He has started running on grass, which is a significant step forward, and hopefully if everything goes smooth from here, he can start to ramp it up. So 4 to 5 weeks. Yeah, hopefully he gets to playing after their China game, so after their bye.
Perfect.
Yep.
I love it.
So I do like that. I am really interested now. Look at me perking up.
Yeah, a couple other questions here. Cameron or Daniel as F3, can't afford both.
I'm going Cameron.
I'm going Daniel.
I'm going on his ceiling. Cameron's going to hurt you. Ceiling.
Yeah, Daniel, but he's unique.
Daniel keeps going 100. Oh, so is Cameron. Cameron's owned by 5%.
No, that's what I'm saying.
And Daniel's
I think
owned
that
by
a lot of people are jumping on Daniel. Have a look at the trading targets of Daniel this week. Oh, yeah, Daniel is going to be massive over the next couple of weeks. I don't know why everyone
likes him, seriously. I really don't.
I like him. I just don't think he's going to hurt you, like, SuperCoach wise.
He just gets you like a flat 100, 110.
100. That's okay.
90,
that's
80,
all you want.
110. Yeah,
sometimes you just want that F5.
But then he's going to throw in a stinker 40. Do you know, this game just gone, he was on like 30 going into the third quarter. And then all of a sudden, he's just gone bang and gone like 100 and something massive. He was on so small, and I was pissing myself laughing at the German club.
It wouldn't be like Daniel to be on anything small.
In the German club, I am laughing because I'm like, this is great. He is doing so bad. And then all of a sudden, literally check the scores, and I was like, how has he gone absolutely monster?
Now, Bing Carroll's 12 says, do you think the Sainers will beat the Eagles? I reserve judgment based on the ins and outs, but I can't see that happening.
Nah, Chris, come on. Let's bring it up. We'll go round by round. Okay, Sydney
we're doing the podcast tomorrow night. Or I will be.
Will you?
Are you going to be doing?
Probably not.
No, I'm going to be.
Depending.
But
I know I got a lot to do. But
let's go through and do our tips.
Quick.
So
Sydney
first
versus
game?
Essendon. I'm going Essendon.
Where is it? Sydney?
Sydney, yeah. But versus Essendon. Sydney's horrible.
If Franklin's in, Sydney. If no Franklin, then Essendon.
Oh, geez, that's a big call. I'm going Essendon. Dogs versus Lions in Ballarat.
Lions.
Yeah, I'm going Lions too. I just think they can score more. I don't know. It's just a weird thing. Although, yeah, who knows?
I just think they hurt teams.
Collingwood to win. Against Carlton.
I'm
not even throwing that up as a float.
I don't want to be Carlton this week.
Suns versus Melbourne.
At Metron?
Yeah.
Ooh, anything can happen. I do think that Melbourne will win because at the end of the day, they're just a better team.
I think so as well, but I actually think there's that slim chance where I'm like...
They do. That's a
fuck
coin
it.
flip almost, isn't it?
I think if Melbourne go
If
there...
they fuck that
if
up.
Melbourne go there expecting
Heads will roll.
Well, if Melbourne go there expecting to win by 100 points like they've done
Oh,
previously,
man.
like playing the Suns at the Gabba.
Can you imagine the chop next week? What's happening? Well, Goodwin just signed a new contract, so they can't get rid of him. What happens next week if Melbourne
Well,
lose
Viney
this
might be
game?
coming back in, and I think they'll match up better across the ground. And they won a game.
No,
so
they
I think
confirmed that Viney's out this week.
Oh, he is? Oh, well, stuff Viney. Okay, Saints versus Eagles in... Where is it? Marvel.
If they remain unchanged, I can't see the Eagles losing that one.
I'm going Saints.
Ooh.
It's a smaller field. It's not the MCG. I reckon the Saints, they lost last week, Saints. So I think they'll be really keen for a win. I think their matchup's a little different. I don't think they're going to be bombing it high as much. I think they're going to try and run and hit the angles.
Well, if they do that, it works into their favour. But I don't. Here's the issue. At Etihad, it'll be under the roof. Eagles' skills, they're going to play to their strength, which is contested marking and intercept marking. They don't need to worry about that in a wet game or anything like that. It's going to be under the roof.
I definitely think the Eagles is a better side, but I just think coming off a loss, and I think Eagles haven't been playing that great either. So if Saints start,
I know that's what I'm saying. Like
Saints,
it could be it's going to be a good game. I can say that.
If Saints start off well, it's going to be hard for Eagles to get confidence.
Yeah.
So So look, I'm going for an upset on that one.
Showdown Adelaide. I think we're both
Adelaide
on that.
now. I actually probably had Port, but now with all their injuries, North versus Geelong.
Geelong.
Yeah, Geelong easily.
I'll ship that in.
Hawks versus the Giants. MCG.
Giants.
Me too. I don't think Giants play at the MCG that often, but that'll be
No,
interesting.
I think look Hawks. I'm so glad Hawks start losing games, but the games that they win is not because they've got talent. The games they win is because Alistair Clark.
Did you hear what he said though this week? Saying we will not just stand around and be middle of the ranked side. So whether that means whatever that means, personnel or whatever, he's
what it means is that we're going to go after every single free agent there is, and we're going to do everything we can to win, which is what they should do.
Yeah,
it's what every decent team does.
Take away their collar.
And then the last game of the round, Richmond
Fremantle
Freo.
Richmond.
At
Yeah, Fremantle.
Oh,
I'm going Fremantle. In Fremantle, I'm going Fremantle.
They're in good form.
At home, they are absolutely amazing. So I think if they get on a roll, they could really trouble their defense.
I think if
Richmond,
if their defense plays as well as they have the last few weeks, I think Richmond are going to struggle because I think Hamling's playing fantastic. Alex Pearce playing fantastic. Luke Ryan's playing fantastic. If they all can take care and dominate the defense over the forward line, I can't see them kicking a good enough score. But it's gonna rest on the battle's gonna be between the Richmond Smalls, who are obviously notoriously really good in high pressure situations, and if Freo can stop the Richmond Smalls, that will be mean that they will win because I don't think the Tools are going to do any damage this week. It's Bolter and Tom Lynch who's underdone anyway. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you there, 100%. So yeah, it's interesting, and when you look at the favourites as well, so Essendon are favourites by 9.5 points. Carlton, geez, I actually wouldn't mind giving Carlton on the line is 40.5 points.
Nah.
I would take Carlton by 40.5 points against Collingwood. They always lift against Collingwood for some reason.
They've still got Cruiser, Simpson, and Newman out.
So what?
It's literally it's the same as last week's lineup.
Nah,
except they're versing
Carlton are literally, after their effort, they are going to bog down. No. They are going to clamp up. Literally.
They won't do that.
They're going to clamp up.
They're going to get their ass handed
Chris,
to them.
they're going to clamp up like you're at, literally.
All right, I'll give you a line bet, which is money. I'll give you double money, so two for one. What? On anything you're going to give to that site, you give to me instead.
Neds?
On 40 points.
40.5 points, Chris. So
40
let's not forget the half. So yeah, Collingwood need to win by
40. I'll give you 2 to 1. I'll give you 10.
They need to win by 41.
More. I'll give you 9 cents more on the dollar.
What do you mean? That's not 2 to 1.
Yeah, it's.
Oh, as in 2 to 1.
Yeah.
I thought you meant like double odds. I was like, that's amazing.
No, I ain't doing that.
2 to 1, yeah, easy.
So if you want to make a bet on that game this week, I'll take your money instead. That's easy money.
Sounds good to me.
Wait, did you watch the Pies play last week?
Oh yeah, they were great. And in phases.
No, they weren't great. They absolutely wiped the floor with Port Adelaide.
No. Anyway, I think that's 40.5 points. Look, I think that's a great bet.
Kato23 says nobody is confirmed on Twitter, so nobody again this week.
Nobody. Oh my draft.
So wouldn't be tipping.
Yeah, go
Sydney.
for Essendon there. Melbourne are minus 15.5 points against the Suns. I actually think that's probably good odds. I think if Melbourne get on a roll, they should be able to beat them by more than 15.5.
Miffy Polner says, please stop talking everyone into Westhoff. I grabbed him last week for these exact reasons. Well,
Nice,
you got
I
him
like
20k cheaper than I'm going to get him for. So.
West Coast are actually favourite against Saints by 7.5 points, so I think that's really interesting. Port Adelaide are 6.5 behind on the line, so that makes sense. Geelong minus 23.5. Oh, interesting. GWS 11.5 points on Hawks, I think, is also good odds.
Yep.
Jesus.
Fair enough. All right, boys. Well, we might leave it there.
Yes.
But thank you very much for tuning in. I think that was a really nice podcast and really, really fun and enjoyable. We love talking Supercoach, what we do.
And just focusing on the trade-ins and the rookies and that sort of
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly
week. So,
right. Yeah.
Yes, everyone's aware of how well their pods did not do. So, thank you, and you can tune in for Chris's solo act tomorrow night. I can't.
It's not going to be that kind of act, but it could be.
It could be the solo one.
Sex sells, Ben. Sex sells.
Yeah, and this coming up next week, Chris will be blind in one eye. Are you bringing the beanbag or?
Well, actually, this time next week you're going to be on your own. I'm going to be in Sydney, and the week after that I'm going to be in Vegas.
That's okay. I'll find some people to talk footy.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I'll set you
Well,
up.
send us a message if you're in Brisbane and you can talk crap better than Chris, and I'll just recruit someone for a couple of weeks.
Sounds good.
That sounds good. All right. Well, thank you very much, and enjoy #bless, and I will bless the Twitch TV people personally in a second. But thank you very much. Enjoy. Let's wait for the carnage tomorrow night. Hopefully everything works out okay. Hopefully Whitfield doesn't play again, because that would be great for me, being selfish. And look, whatever you're doing, if you have any more questions, we are getting a lot of questions at the moment, so we're trying to get to you all. Yes, sometimes it's hard. I mean, I don't have that much time during the day with teaching for the next 2.5 weeks, so I'm trying to do stuff at night or when I have spares. However, yeah, I'm pretty chaotic. So
and I've got a new job.
Yeah,
so.
and I'm trying to rely on him, but then sometimes I see he hasn't done it, so I'm like, trying to engage in conversation. So
yeah, I've got to try and reduce the amount of time that I've been doing stuff lately.
Please be patient, but literally after the next few weeks, I will be much more free for that stuff. So
definitely.
Thank you again, and enjoy, and bless you.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Bye.